What's up, everybody? We back up in here, Hella Flagrant, the podcast. It's your main man, Hella Flagrant DM. I'm in here with my brother Sean B, Flagrant, Shawnee B. What's going on, brother?
Oh man, I'm always good. Just enjoy these NBA finals, man. Milwaukee Bucks are now the world
Yeah.
champions. That's right. Giannis Antetokounmpo got it done. Great freak. Man, I didn't
Yeah.
expect it, but it happened. It happened, and it happened in dramatic fashion.
Yeah, like I don't know how many people expected him to do what he did. I know I honestly didn't. I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I did not expect him to do any of this. Especially after injury, I expected him to kind of like shadow, let Chris Middleton carry the team, and if they didn't win, just kind of, all right, well, we tried kind of thing. But he's really stepped up. Multiple 40-point and then a 50-point game to cap it off. You know what I'm saying? Like he really stepped up and really became the star that people wanted him to be for these finals until that they can get their championship. And like he said he liked that feeling and he wants to keep chasing it. So, hats off to the young man, hats off to the rest of Milwaukee Bucks. So like I said, Chris Middleton, there was a lot of other guys that put in work, you know what I mean? Holiday, like there was guys that really stepped up at times that got them even to the finals that I think may get overlooked. So shout out to the whole team.
Yeah, I got to give him credit, man. I mean, Giannis being a skinny kid from Greece, man, 15th overall pick in 2013 draft, not expected to be anything until he got to be a certain size and weight, and then he started dominating. You got Chris Middleton, who played in the G League pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he never was expected to be what he was and how he stepped up because
Right.
a lot of people wrote him off. I mean, people thought, the last few years, him and Giannis playing in the NBA playoffs, that their team was pretty much, good enough for the regular season, not good enough for the playoffs. Kind of like, like the old school Indianapolis Colts when Peyton Manning was playing for them.
Right.
Like they could win in the regular season, but they couldn't take it to the next level.
Right.
But both of them showed them that they could step up. And Chris Middleton did his job. Drew Holiday, also another guy who's I think is underrated in the NBA because he's not very flashy. I mean, they did what they could, man. And PJ Tucker has all the respect.
Shout out to PJ, man.
Man, especially since he was used as a want to say a weight vest, not a weight vest, but a punching bag, basically. Over there in Houston, man. Like, and he knocked out every single one of his teammates to get to where he was at. He deserves a ring just as much as anybody else, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Milwaukee Bucks and all the Milwaukee fans out there, because I mean, $65,000 people in the Deer District or whatever they call it out there, man. That was incredible just to see that. I mean, hopefully COVID didn't take over your life, but it was incredible to see all those people out there, man. It kind of brought me back to when Golden State was in it. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day.
Yeah, like
when we had our fan base, man.
It's dope. You know what I'm saying? Like it's dope for our city, the smaller markets. We talk about that a lot over the years, and we talk about that a lot on this show about how much love the smaller markets need to get in order to be able to attract other players. You know what I mean? Get free agents and continue to build those teams and continue to make sure that those franchises stay in those markets. You know what I mean? So it's good for that team. Definitely good to see them do that. On the flip side, though, your favorite NBA organization ever, the Phoenix Suns, obviously, did not win. How much of this is on Phoenix as a team? How much of this is on Booker? How much of this is on Chris Paul?
Look, I'll say this. I can't really give a lot of blame, I guess, on either side. I'm gonna say that just because, look, Monty Williams was not expected to do what he did. Neither was the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker played as well as he could play. I thought, the final game wasn't his best, but he did a lot to carry that team and to take them to the position that they are. Now Devin Booker is, a star in this league and people know who he is, a casual fan at least. Chris Paul, I'm going to say this, man. Chris Paul has done everything he possibly can in this league, but I feel like people are looking at Chris Paul in a different way. Everybody's saying he can't do it, he can't get it done when it matters. True. But at the same fact, I feel that people are looking at him as like he's up there with LeBron, Curry, or at least that kind of a star. He's not. Never was. I mean, he's a great number 2 and even better number 3, but he's not a superstar. He can't get it done. The man is 6 feet tall. That's good, but he's not Steph Curry. Steph
Yeah.
Curry can get it done because Steph Curry is more offensive minded than him. He's a better playmaker, scorer, better player in general than Chris Paul will ever be. But the reason why Chris Paul hasn't got it done is because we're expecting Chris Paul to be more, to deliver a team, to take a team and lead a team. Chris Paul is a great leader, but he's not going to ever lead your team to a championship because he doesn't have enough talent to do it.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree. I mean, we've seen him on several teams, right? We've seen him on that Clippers team, we've seen him on the Rockets team, we've seen him on OKC, and now we've seen him on Phoenix, right? Yeah, I mean, you're right. Talent wise, he doesn't have it. He carries himself as if he might be that guy, and a lot of people put that onus on him to kind of be that guy on the court because of who he is off the court. But nah, you're right. Like skill wise, I don't think he had it. I think a lot of people were kind of like me. I was kind of hoping maybe he would get it because this is the closest he'll ever get to getting a championship, and so maybe old man Chris Paul, this is the one that you get to get. Well, no, you showed who you really are. You did all that you could and what you usually do, and we got what we got. You know what I'm saying? And like that was it. I think, Devin Booker did what he could. DeAndre Ayton, they're all young. You know what I mean? Like I can only put so much on them. You know what I mean? And even Monty Williams, like there's only so much I can put on those guys, and so. Is that absolving Chris Paul? No, because you still need somebody. Somebody's got to take the heat. You know what I mean? When the Warriors didn't win, Steph had to take the heat for that because you are the leader. You know what I mean? So somebody's got to take the heat. So I'm not going to absolve you, but I will, keep saying that's it. Like that's the best we're going to get. That's the closest he's going to get, and yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's a few elite players in this league that can get it to that point, and I don't think that there's much more than that. I think a lot of times we look at different players. I wouldn't say James Harden, but James Harden, for example, and a little bit under, and we kind of look at their talent and say, okay, well, look, James Harden can score and he can do this, he can do that, but why can't he lead his team to winning? Because James Harden never could. Chris Paul, James Harden were on terrible teams even before they got together in Houston. They did their job and they scored a lot of points, but they never got anywhere. Why? Because it takes more than that. It takes more than just scoring a whole bunch of points to win a championship. LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and then even Kawhi. Like these guys are leaders. I wouldn't say on and off the floor because I can't say that for Kawhi. He's not a leader off the floor at all. He's not even a leader on the floor, on the court. It's just he has a different skill set than a lot of these players do. And Giannis, I think now I'm not gonna put him all the way there, but he has a certain skill set to win a championship because if you look at Giannis as a Shaq figure and not as a LeBron and KD's talent, as a center, outstanding. He's unstoppable. I know right now he doesn't shoot free throw well, but neither did Shaq. Right. Nobody said. They said Shaq needed to shoot better free throws, but they didn't hold against him.
Right.
I'm not saying you can't hold that against Giannis, but if you look at him in the same light as a center, he has the talent to get you to the next level. You just have to put certain people around him. Chris Middleton, Jrue Holiday, it worked this year because the league was kind of in disarray with COVID and the injuries, but he has the talent to take a team over the top because he has a certain skill set that nobody can stop.
Yeah, no, and I definitely could agree with that because there's a lot of guys that they want to kind of give similar merit to, but I just don't think they have it, and they've shown that they haven't. I mean, obviously, you look at Joel Embiid, you look at the Joker, you look at I wouldn't necessarily put Valanciunas in that boat, but Steven Adams, some of these other big guys that play down in the middle, and when you look at them, obviously Giannis is elite at that position. And so, yeah, when you look at him as a Shaq figure and put him in that role, I definitely agree that he's elite and has what it takes to get a team to the championship as he's shown. And so I definitely think he'll be back at least in Eastern Conference Finals contention. We'll see how the East Coast shakes up to see if, they're able to make it back to the actual championship. But I know Milwaukee will probably be in Eastern Finals contention for the next, 2 to 3 seasons. That seems like that's in their foreseeable future for them.
Yeah, and shout out to Chick-fil-A whose stock went up $294,000
Oh
because Giannis
man.
because Giannis put a 50 piece up and asked for one the next day at their place, man. Like they couldn't have gotten better business than that. Like they
Yeah.
owe him, and he asked for free Chick-fil-A for life. If they don't give it to him, they have a problem, man. They need to shut
Yeah.
down.
No,
That
he's
man just gave you all type of business right there, man.
yeah. Shout out. So again, Giannis making the people happy in multiple ways.
Man, for real.
So let's talk about some basketball that is not happening in America right now. The Olympics. Team USA. Currently at the recording of this show, they are down 0-2.
One.
Excuse me. Sorry. In actual Olympic play, they're down 0-1. They've lost what, 3 games total though?
They've lost 3 games
total. 3
total.
games total. What is going on?
Out of like 5 or 6.
Yeah, what's going on with Team USA here? Like, do they not care? Should they care?
They don't have 4 of the 5 people I just named that could actually potentially win you an NBA title.
Well,
no LeBron, no Curry, no Kawhi, and no Giannis. They would have had Giannis anyway because he would have played for Greece, but or Luka. You put him in there too.
Well, he plays.
Luka is this, and he's playing too.
Yeah.
You see what he put up?
Yeah, 48 points. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some other teams too that have some unexpected stars on them that you wouldn't think that play for other countries. I think the league has gotten a lot more international, and so I think the competition level has come up just a tad bit. And I think Team USA can't be arrogant going into any of these games, and they are. But I also think, like you said, you don't have 4 of the 5 superstars on this team that would win you a championship. So.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna break this down though because it's more than that. I can't let that slide. Pop is done.
Well, yeah.
They need to get him out of there. Like, okay, Greg Popovich's Olympic career is terrible. It's not. If you look at the record in Olympic play, he loses more. I wouldn't say he loses more games than he wins, but he has not. He has lost, I think, around 6 games since he's been the head coach of the USA team. It's unacceptable. I know that the other part of the world are catching up, but they're not all the way.
No.
You can't tell me right now that a team that has Kevin Durant, that has Damian Lillard, that has Draymond as a point forward, Bam Adebayo, Jason Tatum, whoever you have on the court, Booker just joined the team. Like I don't care. I'm sorry. Put JaVale out there. They lost to France, Rudy Gobert was your main star, Nicholas Batum, Evan Fournier. That's only one starter that's actually on that team. One starter.
Nicholas Batum's been on that team forever too.
Right. He doesn't even start for his team.
No.
Neither does Fournier. That other dude that's a point guard, I don't even know who he is, but I think he's played Olympic. I don't know if he's in the NBA. And the other guy that plays on the Boston Celtics. But either way, my point is, yes, there are players that are in the NBA that are now from other places in the world. And that's fine. And that's all well and good. The thing about the reason why they have beaten the U.S. in these last few games is because they take it seriously. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
They're playing team basketball. The USA team feels like they can just show up and win.
Yeah.
That's their problem. They're really only there because they feel like they can show up and win.
Well,
most times they can.
Look at the kinds of players that you have, though. They have and I don't want to, I don't know, you can say whatever you want, but look at the kinds of players that you have. You have the show up and win kind of guys, though. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that these guys don't work hard, but you got Draymond, KD, Dame Lillard. Like, I'm not going to
Yeah,
say these guys don't approach the game with seriousness, but they performed at such a high level. KD and Draymond, obviously champions. It's kind of to the point where it's like, I'm not saying they have a deserved sense of arrogance, but they're gonna walk around with that arrogance a little bit. Like, yeah, whatever.
of
You know what I'm
course.
saying? Like, yeah, this is kind of like an exhibition thing for us, regardless. It's not as serious as the 90s and even early 2000 games where it was like, yeah, competing for a world champion meant something different because the US, like, I don't want to say it hadn't done it before. Obviously, we kind of led it from the start, but it meant something. Like now, I feel like it's kind of lost its luster, and maybe that has something to do with Pop. Maybe that has something to do with the number of losses they've taken in prior years. But I feel like it's lost its luster. So these stars come in a little bit more arrogant about it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think a lot of it has to do with branding. A lot of it is these players look at themselves as brands, obviously, and that's what they are. I mean, Kevin Durant makes more money outside of basketball than he does playing basketball. His NBA contract doesn't even compare to what he makes from Nike and all his other endorsements.
Right.
He just does these things because it helps with his branding. Same thing with Draymond. We already know how much Draymond loves the camera and he's going to be great on it. But the fact of the matter is, the more accolades he stacks up, the better it is for him for his Hall of Fame, push, or for him to be on TV, whatever it is he wants to do in his life. And I
Right.
applaud all of them for doing that. The problem is that's their goal. Everybody else is to win for their country.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right.
That's why these teams. That's why the all these other countries, they're playing harder, and they're taking these teams are taking the U.S. to the brinks, because it's not about once they leave here, oh, I'm going to get this and this and this endorsement deal. They're just doing this because they're representing where they're from.
So so
You know what
then
I'm
so
saying?
then so then the question comes up. Then it's an easy question to ask. Taking basketball out for a second and getting a little bit more political, how given everything that this country's been through in the last 18 months or even 12 months, as an African American, pretty much mainly African American dominated team, how difficult is it for you to go out there and represent America right now? Like how inspired would you be to be like, yeah, I'm going to go rep America and not my
Yeah,
brand?
that's a good question, and honestly, like I can't, I don't know how these guys feel, but at the same time, I can understand if this is just strictly about business for them. I mean, we've seen what's happened, you know, politically, injustices and different things like that. Obviously, George Floyd is the main one, but I mean, there's been countless numbers of police killings and brutalities and different things that's happened, you know, not just with African Americans, but all different races in the U.S. and having the president that we had, previous to the president we have now, it's been tough.
Right.
And so, with that being said, you're right. If I'm now going to represent the U.S. and I'm going to this country or to Tokyo to represent, what the U.S., why am I there other than for me? And that's the problem right now with the team is they have a lot of individuals on this team. And like I said, I'm not here to dispute what their reasons are, but when you start having every single person as an individual and only doing things for their own brand, it's hard to build a cohesive unit to win a U.S. gold, or a gold medal for the U.S.
Right.
because everybody's really worried about themselves as opposed to everybody on other teams worrying about their country and their team.
Yeah.
They might not have these same problems, obviously, in these different countries. They might have different problems, but it just seems that the people that are playing, that the U.S. is playing against, they're more and more focused on doing it for their country as opposed to what the U.S. is doing, their players are doing for their brand.
And Team USA is in a weird predicament because it is a predominantly African American led sport, and B, it's one of the few focused sports in the Olympics. You think about everything else. You think about swimming. Gymnastics is kind of a team, but it's really individual. Track, same thing. Yeah, the team, but it's mostly individual. Soccer is a team sport, but most of the other things are individually focused. Even though you're still kind of repping for the team, so you still are repping for your brand. Basketball is one of the few sports that it's a collective representing the country, and this collective happens to be predominantly African American, and African Americans and other minorities in this country have been openly, just I don't even know the right word. I was gonna say some fashion, but you know what I'm saying? Like we just discriminated is not
Mistreated.
even the strong enough a word though. Discriminate is not even a strong enough word. Like
It's not.
it's just you know what I mean? Like you've had George Floyd killed on TV. Like
Yeah.
and then you want me to go wave a flag after like there's people who needed to do an investigation to find out if this person was wrong for doing that. Like you had to investigate that. I got to go represent a country that has to wonder if that was a crime.
Right.
So
Yeah. No, I completely get it. And I'm not saying that that's the situation in terms of them, but right now it is just it on the court. It just seems like they are the furthest away of any team representing the U.S. right now, whether team or individual sports. Like they look completely like they're just there for the ride. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
look, hopefully they get to where they get. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if my money was on it, I'm betting against them.
yeah, I'm taking all unders on Team USA games.
For real.
Um,
For real.
obviously we'll check in with you guys as the Olympics move on. There's some other new sports in the Olympics. They got 3-on-3 basketball. They have skateboarding. I was this afternoon. I saw women's professional skateboarding in the Olympics. Trip me
Yeah.
out. So shout out to the 2020 Olympics that are happening in 2021, and it feels like the Twilight Zone because everything says 2020 on it. But
Man.
it's pretty cool. So coming back stateside, the 2021 NBA draft is upon us. It's here. What you got? Who's going where? What moves should be made? What do you think teams should do? What's up? What's happening?
Well, I mean, it's going to be a lot. Obviously, this is the time where teams pick do their best to pick their superstars. The next LeBron James, like Steph Curry's. I mean, those guys are one in a million, but you can get quality players. Obviously, Giannis, like we just talked about, was a 15th overall pick in 2013 draft. I can honestly tell you, everybody before that wasn't even worth it. So this is where the selections matter. We all right now kind of believe that Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State will probably be the number one pick. I wouldn't say he had the most dominant college career or college 1 year or whatever you want to call it, but he definitely has the NBA body. He has an NBA type of game. He's a big point guard, and I do think that with the first pick, the Pistons will have their guy as their new point guard, unless for some reason they trade out of it. I heard that the Rockets were trying to move up one spot because they obviously want him, but the Pistons would be pretty stupid if they did that. Now, Jalen Green, who comes out of the Bay, was a high school player. He obviously went to play in the G League last year. I think he will be a superstar in this league at some point. He has a lot of gifts, as shooting guard, can fly to the gym too. He probably will be the number two consistent pick. And then Evan Mobley, the center out of USC, is kind of skinny, but has a whole bunch of talent. Kind of reminds you, I wouldn't say of Giannis because Giannis is a little bit bigger, but he has a lot of skills to play inside, outside. He probably will be the third consistent pick. Now, coming up on that, we're speaking about the Golden State Warriors. What do you think they should do right now since they have the number 7 and the number 14 pick?
So, a good friend of mine who shall remain nameless sent me some weird text about the Golden State Warriors possibly interested in Bradley Beal, which would require them giving up that pick. Um, so okay, because we talk about this a lot, so other people don't know this, so I have to say this, but I am strongly against the Warriors giving up both picks this year. Like, I really feel like they should keep at least one of the picks, whether they decide to trade a pick, Wiggins and Wiseman, whether they decide to trade the higher pick and just Wiseman off. Not ideal either, but I'd live with that. Like, I'd live with us keeping at least one pick, only because as a team, we've matured through the draft. Most of our best players have come through us through the draft. They weren't traded. Draymond, Steph, Clay, I say that all the time. We got those guys, you know what I mean, in the draft. It took a little time to groom them, but they got them and they're our guys, you know what I mean? And so I just always fear against giving up 2 first-round picks, especially this year when you have, I wouldn't say unknown talent, but you have some talent in there that could be easily developed, and you have a lot of opportunity at the 2, 3, and 4. Well, basketball is kind of moving positionless, but in that shooting guard, small forward, kind of forward spot range, you have some guys there that are on the table that I think the Warriors could take advantage of. And so I really, really hope they don't give up both picks in a trade situation. But my heart believes that there will be a trade situation that involves at least one of the picks and 2 players.
What I think the Golden State Warriors right now should do is this. The number 7 and number 14 pick are on the table. Everybody's saying that they need to trade both picks and acquire a superstar. I don't believe that's the case. All right. I do believe that they should hang on at least to Wiseman. Now, I know everybody is saying we saw what Wiseman can do. Look, he's a center. He scored 11 points last year, 6 rebounds. Not the best performance for that team. But you have to understand this. It's up to the Warriors to develop talent. Wiseman was the number 2 pick. He's a 7'1" center who can dribble, can shoot the outside shot, and has a talent to be a great player. We just saw Giannis win an NBA title doing the exact same thing. Now, look, I know he's not Giannis. I know he's not even close to that, but he has that skill set. He has a skill set to at least put the ball on the floor, to get to the rim, to dunk the ball. He can play defense when he needs to, and you can teach him. That's the development that the Warriors need to do. Stop looking to find talent and to grab everybody. I know this league is about talent. I know that you have, the Brooklyn Nets stacking it with KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. The Lakers are probably going to make moves. You're going to have to compete with what you have. But I strongly recommend to not give away what you have in terms of young talent right away, because A, it's going to be cost effective to keep these guys. But then B, you will have to do something once Steph, Clay, and Dre are finished. Now, I know the 7 and the 14 pick, you don't know who they could be. You don't know where you're going to get or what you're going to get with those guys. So, in my view, if you're going to trade those picks or one of those picks, that would be okay, but you cannot lose out on Wiseman. You spent 5 years in the NBA basically competing for championships. And I know that was an amazing time for fans here in the Bay Area. I loved it. I had the best time of my life. But the fact of the matter is, if you ever want to get back to that, you cannot mortgage your future by giving away everything just to get one player. Because we've seen, just like I just spoke of with the Brooklyn Nets, that it doesn't always work all the time. Just because you grab talent doesn't mean that you're going to grab a championship. Clay right now is the biggest, question mark. The man has been out for 2 years. He's torn his ACL. He's ripped his Achilles tendon. 2 serious injuries. It's going to take him a while. If you trade all these picks to get Bradley Beal, you might as well say, at least for the first half of the season, you're just going to be replacing Clay with a different kind of Clay without the defense. Now, if Clay comes back to form and Clay is where he is, that's great. You'll have 3 scorers that people won't be able to stop. The problem is they won't be able to stop anybody else either. You got Steph, who plays limited defense, who's better at it, but let's just be honest, he's not that great at doing it right now. He's not the best. He's not, Drew Holiday. Klay Thompson, amazing talent. We know what he can do and what he used to do. But like I said, He's a work in progress. Sliding back laterally is going to take a lot for him. Might not see it all right away. So Warrior fans, just be on pause. You might not see the great defensive player that Clay used to be. And Bradley Beal, although he doesn't play great defense, he does try. The problem is if you're going against different scorers, you're going to have to outscore these teams. And yes, those three can do it. But you still have Draymond, you still have Looney who don't score the ball at all. And if you don't have anybody to fill that roster, what's going to happen when one of those guys takes the bench? Or if one of those guys, God forbid, gets hurt? What are you going to do? I would not give up every single asset that I had just to get another guy who's going to cost you another 30 to 40 million dollars. Work with what you have, build the talent around you. If you need to get more scouts in there to help, do that. It's easier to fire coaches or to hire coaches than it is to get players. Figure it out with the talent you have. I'm telling you, Warriors fans, you will be happy. You will be happy later down the line if you can continue to build this team up because, like I said, in 2 or 3 years, you might be up in line for a championship. If Steph and Clay and Draymond can maintain and coach these guys up, you can still do the same thing this year. As long as these guys have, the right mindset, they're champions. This is what you do. This is how you become a champion. You don't win just off of star power. You win with cohesion. Circle back to what we were talking about the USA team. Just because you put talent on the floor doesn't always mean you're going to win. So if it was up to me for the Warriors, at least keep Wiseman, but I would still try to hold on to one of those picks at least for the future, if not both. But at least make sure that you have a guy, especially this early in the draft and in the lottery, that you can pick that won't cost you a lot, that it can help you produce for the bench because you're going to need that more than you think.
So yeah, somebody else I was just looking at in the draft and just kind of seeing where they're going to go. A couple of mock drafts have Jalen Suggs going in at 5th. Some of them have him at 4th. Coming out of Gonzaga, I think, as a point guard, I think Orlando needs anything they can get. And so I see them possibly taking him in that spot. I'm really surprised, and I mean, and maybe they know something that we don't. But being a Florida kid, Trey Mann, I thought Orlando, might have been leaning towards him coming out of Florida. But again, Suggs. You got a couple other guys, I think, in that guard spot, Davion Mitchell, that are ahead of him. But I just liked how Trey Mann played. So I thought that he might be somebody that Orlando would consider picking up in that guard spot, being that he's a Florida kid. But yeah, that's really it. I'll be honest. Until March, I didn't watch a lot of college basketball this year. It was tough.
Yeah,
it's real hard.
Yeah, no, trust me, I'm right there with you. And the tournament didn't show everything, but it did give us a little bit of these guys and what they could do. I'm very interested to see, especially with the guys like I say with Green, Jalen Green, and also Kuminga, and there's a few other guys that played on these G League teams. Like, if that's going to be the way that players start going, you know what I'm saying? Because, like guys like Imani Bates, who's coming up. I mean, that guy he's out of his world. Yeah. I mean, he's the next Durant. So, and he dropped his top 8 of places he want to go, and obviously the G League was one of the places that he was considering. So I'm wondering if top players are, seeing of where these guys fall, if that's the route that a lot of players are going to start taking.
I obviously, the Mikey Williams, the Bronny James of the world, they're looking around and seeing what's going on. And as business-minded as LeBron is, you can expect that Bronny James is probably going to make whatever the best business decision is for him basketball-wise, be it play overseas for a year or two, G League, and then, come NBA before deciding to just go to college or something like that. Like, a lot of these high school guys are definitely looking at what's happening, for these players moving forward.
Yeah, especially, real quick, just looking at what LaMelo did last year, even though he had a short year of playing, but he was by far, we'll take it back, not by far. Anthony Edwards had a great year too, but Both of those guys were pretty much, 1 and 2 for Rookie of the Year. And LaMelo, I mean, traveling all over the world, playing overseas, and different things like that, instead of actually even finishing high school, it looks like it was a no brainer at this point. Like at first, everybody criticized him, but he looks the part. He looks NBA ready. So it'll be interesting to see if more guys start doing this. Moving forward.
Yeah. So moving on to other sports that are out of season but getting ready to get going. The NFL, the National Flagrant League, as we love to call it, is gearing up to get started for preseason. OTAs, workouts, and things are happening. Some people are there. Some people are on their way, kind of, maybe, possibly, sort of, in a weird deal. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers have come to terms mutually, possibly, on a deal that's pretty much the reverse prove it deal. Like it's Aaron Rodgers telling the team to prove it to him.
Right.
If you want me to stay, you have to prove that the culture and everything else that I want is going to improve. Otherwise, I'm leaving, which to me in my mind sounds like an out for him to say, regardless of what they do, I'm just going to say I'm not happy here and leave regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually pretty surprised that the Green Bay even did this. I felt like they had the upper hand. I mean, because it was either he played for the Green Bay Packers or he had to retire. That was the only way to get out of it. But they work with him. I guess they're trying to give him every possibility to stay. I guess this is the only way dealing with Aaron Rodgers to go about it. But you're right. It's basically his exit. It's his Tom Brady farewell to New England type of year. And we'll see how engaged he is. We'll see if he actually takes it a lot seriously. Because we all know Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a very prickly kind of guy.
Yeah.
He kind of goes by the old beat of his drum. He doesn't really care about people too much other than himself, and that's it. But we'll see. I mean, he could easily leave this year. I think that, he probably will leave. And there will be a lot of teams that will be ready for him to play. The only problem is I don't know how much better he's going to get than Green Bay. Let's just be honest. I mean, the man had the second best line in football. He complained about not having a number one receiver or not having a first round draft receiver. You have Devontae Adams, who yes was drafted in the second round, but he's the best
He's
receiver
awesome.
in
Yeah.
football.
Yeah, he's awesome.
What?
What do you want?
I don't
What do you
understand.
want?
He just got a 99 rating club on Madden. Like, what
Yeah.
else do you need, man? Like, so yeah, cool. If you want to go about it like that, whatever. But what happened with Tom Brady and him going to Tampa and winning a Super Bowl probably won't happen with you.
No. Because I don't even see a team with the capacity to take you and take on your salary that is a Super Bowl contender. Like any Super Bowl contender right now has a quarterback. So
right now, there are a few teams that I think Denver, even though Denver doesn't seem like they could be great, I think Denver could take him on and they would be a player. The problem is you're going to have to be going against the best quarterback in the NFL every or two times a year in Patrick Mahomes. You don't want that. You don't want that in Denver. Like being an older man and having to, like, you play in Green Bay, you play in the snow, that's fine. But playing in the altitude and snow, probably not what you want to do. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like Aaron think things through.
and playing against AFC defenses gonna be slightly different.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say this hint. Like the Chargers, even though the Chargers are the Chargers will be a lot better than people think they will be this year. That boy up there, Justin Herbert, watch out. I'm telling you right now, he's gonna be a problem. Like he's not Patrick Mahomes, but
do we hear future bets? Is that a future bet I hear? Is that a
I will be putting some money. I've heard quite a bit of things come out of camp from a lot of different people, and I'm not talking about just Chargers. I'm talking about people that came to watch him just Drew Brees. Other people saying this dude looks like a whole nother person now.
So
Like,
yeah, no,
yeah,
and I hear that, and it gives me, I just want to remind all of you that football season's coming up, and so if you'll be anywhere that betting is legal, anytime before football starts, maybe a good time to get some of those future NFL bets in early.
20,
And,
25 to 1 to win MVP. Just saying. Might want to throw a little bit on it.
yeah,
Can't hurt. Can't hurt.
nah.
$10 to 50, just right there. We'll see. We'll see. Might dabble. We'll see.
I feel like the next episode is gonna have a lot more gambling and betting advice for some reason. For some reason, I feel like that the next episode, I don't know why, but I just feel like there's gonna be a lot of betting and gambling going on next time we talk to you guys. So make sure you stay tuned for that, because we definitely want to make sure that we're giving you guys our now. As we always disclaim, we're not experts. I've lost a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like a lot listening to that guy over there. I've also won some money listening to that guy over there too. So, you know what I mean? Just stay tuned. We'll give you our advice and what we think should happen, and then we'll sit back and watch, and we'll compare notes, and maybe you guys can tell us what we did wrong, and help you. You know what I mean?
Or you can thank us for the money that you win. Let's put it like that. That's how I'm coming at it. You can thank me for the money that you win.
I'm trying to keep the money off the money line. That's all. I want you to take the opposite of what we take. Um, but I think that's gonna wrap up this episode of Hella Flagrant, the podcast. As always, it's been fun rocking with y'all. And again, stay tuned. We're gonna keep in touch with Team USA, not just on the basketball side, but again, Olympic women's badminton. You know what I mean? Like, we got to check in with that. Somebody on our viewership needs to know what's going on with that. And so we're going to make sure that we give you guys all the details on women's Olympic badminton and everything else going on in the world of sports between now and the next episode. So make sure you stay tapped in. Hella Flagrant, the podcast. We're right here. Make sure you follow, like, comment, share, all that.
Yeah, finals might be done. NBA might be done for a little bit. The draft is, Thursday. Or if you're watching this, I'm sure it's probably today or the next day. But either way, football is coming pretty soon, and we have the Olympics going on now. Like you said, just stay tuned, man. Sports all around. We're here. You can hit us on social media and let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear. Either way, we're going to be here. We're going to be talking about sports. So for you, Hella Flagrant, right here.
Yeah, some little preview of something for y'all too.
Something new.
On that note, we out though. Peace.